Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. We're talking about cooperation. And you have already cooperated because you're listening to me and I'm listening to you. Look at us. The spirit of cooperation, it just is infused in this conversation right now. We are cooperating with one another. And good for us because we get things accomplished when we all cooperate together. Hey, by the way, we listed a date for the movie, bleedingbluemovie.com. Bleeding Blue will come out March the 30th. We are asking for people to sign up to get a theater on that date to open for us. If you're interested in doing that, send me a note. It costs probably, we did it for a friend of mine's movie called Dreams of My Real Father, movie by Joel Gilbert. And Joel's got a new one coming out too. And I did a showing for him in St. Louis. I think we had about 500 people show up. The theater cost, I want to say $1,500. So you can get a local theater that will rent out the date that, on that day and let us show the film. So we're looking at March 30th as the date for that so far. It could change. It might do March 31st because Friday's March 30th. I'm not sure if March has 31 days, but we don't want to do it April 1st. but we are going to do it, I think, March 30th or whatever. I know that's a Friday, and it also happens to be my brother's birthday, which was symbolic for me. But the movie's called Bleeding Blue, bleedingbluemovie.com, so you can find out more about it. So we are talking about cooperation today, but before I get into that, I want to tell you something. What's happened to create this spirit of cooperation for Donald Trump. And by the way, this is based on a bipartisan meeting that he brought together Democrats and Republicans to talk about DACA. And people are hailing this meeting as this is pretty symbolic because Barack Obama refused to meet with Republicans for months. Donald Trump has been willing to meet with Democrats on any issue they want to discuss, and he's done it. But he called this meeting together because this is sort of there to throw them a bone. And I think this is so genius of this guy to say, you know what? I've gotten my agenda accomplished, part of my agenda in year one. It was an amazing year. Now I'm going to bring you into the mix, and we're going to work together in the spirit of cooperation. There's an old saying, honor bespeaks worth, confidence bespeaks trust, service brings satisfaction, cooperation proves the quality of leadership. And so how did we get here? We got here because people broke. When I say broke, Donald Trump took the Republican Party and he smashed it like a vase. And he broke it. He took the political establishment and he smashed it. And so what he did after that is he says, okay, I just smashed you. You've been defeated. But now I'm going to put you back together. And I don't know if you've ever broken a bone, but if you have, the doctors will tell you when this bone fuses, when it grows back together, where the break is will be stronger than the rest of your other bone. And that's essentially what Donald Trump is doing. He's broken the body politic and he's pieced it back together. And he says, now we can be stronger than we've ever been. He says, I know I broke you, but you had to be broken. It's the same way a good coach will tell you, I don't know if you've ever trained in something, but a coach will tell you, I have to break down your muscles to build them up for this sport. Your muscles, in order for you to fire off, for you to get stronger, your muscle tissue has to break down. It's called being very, very sore the next day after you've done a workout. Your muscles are going, whoa, what the heck, right? But then if you do it every day, if you get used to the repetition and stuff, your muscles start to get memory. And the little muscles are if you work out the next day, you're really messed up because trust me on this. And so you're shaking. And you know what that shaking is? That shaking is the little bitty muscle fibers, the ones that you ignore, the ones you don't really care about, but the ones that are most important. They're the ones that keep the big muscles going. They start to, they quiver. Because they're like, man, that was a lot of weight. You could do that again. But then after a while, they stop quivering because they can handle the pressure. And what Donald Trump is doing now is he's working on these little bitty muscles. And he's saying, you know what, we can do this. We can put this deal together, and I can let the Democrats feel as if they've gotten some kind of a win. So he calls this meeting. Republican and Democrat lawmakers looking for a solution for the hundreds of thousands of young people that they call dreamers brought to the United States as children, living here illegally. Because he ended the deferred, what do they call it? What's DACA actually means, like deferred action for childhood, something, arrivals. But it was essentially Obama did an illegal act. I'm going to go into detail on that in a second. And he shielded somewhere between 700 to 800,000 people from deportation, gave them the right to work legally, and they took advantage of other things as well. And Congress has until March to make a fix. That was the deal. And so Congress has been holding us over the head. We're not going to fund the government. And Donald Trump's like, fine, no problem. But as opposed to just being this autocratic dictator that everybody's made him out to be, this unhinged guy, which is part of the new narrative for the Democrats, is that you can't let him near the button. This is what they did in the campaign, just a reprise of it. Trump says, hey, let's meet. And as opposed to Barack Obama, who had the most, what do you call it, transparent government ever, Donald Trump actually says, let's film it and let's show it. It was so cool. Get a chance to watch it. And I talked earlier, the reason why it was cool is I watched Donald Trump's style in this negotiation, because that's what it is. Now, the negotiations are going to be a little more complicated because of a federal judge's ruling which blocked the administration's decision to end the program. This is a district judge in San Francisco who granted this request to block it. So as the decision plays out, it could extend out a little bit. But in the end, Trump will win this because it's illegal and he'll win it. But the Democrats know how to play the game. But Trump still did what he's doing this the right way. He's saying, look, I'm willing to look at this. You guys are fighting me on an illegal act, but I'm still willing to talk to you about it. And he says, when they were asking him, what do you think is going to be the outcome of this? He said exactly what he should have said. He says, I think my positions are going to be what the people in this room come up with. Yeah, he says, I'm very much reliant on the people in this room. Now, the reason why he did that, and I said earlier, you don't have to panic. Donald Trump knows exactly what he wants out of this negotiation. And I know he's smart about it. He's going to put on some, because they listed these things that they want. And I do want to come back to this. I don't know when exactly we can do it. In fact, should we play the clip? Do we have time? No, we don't have time. Well, I'm going to talk about Chuck Schumer and what he was and DACA in a different way when we come back, and then we'll play the clip at another time. But I'm just telling you, I love because, by the way, what I want to talk about is the Democrats don't really care about the Dreamers, and that's been exposed, and that's going to be big news over the next week in the news cycle. It'll weaken a bit, but that's going to be big news, so we're going to talk about that next.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.